Back again with another quick one today. I'm going to be looking at a bull head which was sent in via Sunwayfoto. We'll do an unboxing first, then we'll get into a bit more detail. Just to show you quickly some of the included items that you get. 3 Allen keys, 2 washers and a 1/4 inch screw. The head comes in a pretty decent neoprene case and that has a drawstring at the top. Just gives you a bit of protection if you're transporting it around. I'll put a few of the key specs up on screen for you. This bull head is quite different to other ones that I've looked at. It's an inverted head, and that means to say that the majority of the weight is at the top of the bull head. You'll see on the right hand side we have a pretty big locking knob. That makes it quite easy to get some tension on that. Diameter of the base is just under 60mm with a 3/8 thread. It's worth pointing out this is a pretty substantial bull head. They do have quite a few other models in their range with the inverted series, so you're really going to be putting this on a medium to larger tripod. We'll just take a quick tour of the head now just to show it to you. Nice quality machining on this and anodized aluminium. This is one of those heads that you don't have to turn the locking knob that much to start to get some tension on it. They do vary quite a bit. Some of the heads you really have to lock them down, but with this one, 1/4 of a turn and you're sort of semi-locked, 1/2 a turn and it's really fully locked. And that locking knob is also spring-loaded, so you can pull it out and move it around just in case it gets in the way of the lever. And we'll take a look at that lever clamp now, because this does have a quick release mechanism and there's a good reason for that. It's a dual purpose bull head. This is the included plate. It's an SP-60. All the details are on screen for you. The 2 bolts on the end, you can remove those if you want. Just on some of the Arca style heads, they will stop them from slipping off. This particular head doesn't though, and the standard screw that you get with this out of the box, this is the 3/8, not the 1/4 inch. But as you have both of them, you can just take out the one that you don't want, or indeed you could actually just put both of them in there if you wanted to. The smaller 1/4 inch, it won't fall out unless you're at the hole end where it will come out. You can also fit other compatible Arca plates onto the head. Do bear in mind though that they do sometimes vary slightly in terms of the size. But you can adjust the quick release mechanism. You have the nut there which you can turn. That gives you a fine adjustment. If you find that difficult to turn, you can squeeze it together and then you'll be able to get to the nut. And likewise, you can do the same thing with the lever clamp. Just push it in, then you'll be able to turn that around easier. I quite like the design on this because it does give a secure fit, but do bear in mind when you're using the Arca style plates, there's nothing there to stop them from coming off. The design on this is dual purpose. It's not just for photo gear. It also can be used for things like weapons, where you do have the Picatinny rail mount. There are 2 mounts on this. You'll see the second rail or groove on the bottom part, and that does have an anti-slip rod in there. I'm just giving you a quick overview of that. I can't show you anything because I don't have any weapons myself, so it's going to be from a photo perspective that I'm looking at this. If you look on the inside, you can see it is hollowed out. That is normal for a bull head. You can take that off if you need to. I very much doubt you will. I suppose if it falls into a river or something, you need to dry it out. You can do that. The lever lock mechanism on this is definitely faster to use than the Arca standard sort of screw head. And what I found with the weight distribution, it's quite different from a normal bull head. It really is much easier to move the head around quite quickly. Just a single locking knob that we have on this, so it unlocks everything in terms of rotation and angle. And that brings me on to the next point, and we do have an obvious difference between this and a sort of standard style bull head, and that is your angle is around about 45 degrees, and there's no cutout section that you normally get on a bull head. The U-shape lets you put the head down fully, so you can actually point it down to the ground or use it for vertical shooting. So that is a potential drawback with this particular design. On the other hand, if you're someone that does have something like an L bracket, and a lot of people do use those, then you'll find that obviously the vertical shooting isn't going to be a problem at all for you. It's also going to work well for larger telephoto lenses that do have those longer plates where you can just slide them into position. This isn't a cheap head, but it is certainly very sturdy. You stick 2 or 3 kilos on this and it doesn't even flinch at all. The company does have various other models that might be worth looking at in terms of the size and weight. This particular one is one of the larger ones. I think I need to use this a bit longer to see how I feel for a long-term review, but my initial impressions are quite positive on this in terms of the build quality and feel. That wraps it up for me on this video. If you've got any thoughts or questions, do drop a comment down below.